Hello my friends and welcome to episode 11 of our Football Manager 2020 Let's Play. I'm going to start with, obviously we're Queen's Park and this is our series going pro for those that don't know, but bad intro again, as always. I'm going to start with straight away the money situation. We did move into Lesser Hampden, the 5 million did come in. Now I tested this a few times and again it was very hit and miss, so I'm not sure if it was a database error or not. But it did seem to link with sometimes the move to Lesser Hampden wouldn't happen and the 5 million wouldn't come in. Sometimes it did happen, the 5 million would come in, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on with the database in that, but it does seem very unstable. Thankfully we've got to move into Lesser Hampden, and I think the 5 million in the bank is the lesser of the two evils there, because as you've seen last season, it was £800,000 just for getting Celtic drawn at home after that cup replay. Reality is, that's literally 5 home ties in the cup that skyrocket our money more than the 5 million, or give or take 5, 6 maybe. I don't think that's that balanced. Now we're capped at 1,700, which is accurate to the development plans of Lesser Hampden, which is different from the default database, which is 2,000. So again, I've balanced it out with that, so I think having the accurateness on there works out. So if you have a look at, I've got no chance, but Alex Ferguson's on the list, of course. There's no chance I'm going to be on that list. What I was going to show you is facilities. So we're in the 1,700 all-seater, built in 1923. The game has confirmed to me that it has a 12,000 expansion capacity, so it's good enough to get us into the SPL, or the SPFL Premiership as it's now known, of course, and work out from there. And develop on really. We've got good academy coaching now and good youth recruitment, that has gone up. We've got the youth facilities, of course, going up. That's due for completion in about October, so that's fairly helpful there. Betfred Cup we were required to be competitive, we've passed that. You obviously do get a bit of spoilers on the top right there. I'm going to go through all the results in detail next episode. You can also see one of the sign-ins as a spoiler on this screen, which I didn't even think about. Now, transfer history, we do have another transfer that we're going in for there. We're going to start with released players. So Kenny Adamson out, he was the left back. Elliot Anderson, can't even remember him. Ewan Smith was obviously the defender. John Tennant was the defender I took a risk on. Adam Martin actually played really well for us when he played. Kyle Pryor was okay. Lewis McGee, Kieran Moore, Ross McFarlane and Luke Main. Mostly was youth players and players that were sort of fringed that have left the club on free transfers. When we go to all transfers on the outs, David Galt, we sold him Airdrie for free. It's actually a really bad deal for us in the end, this one. He is away to Airdrie, who are in the same league and will be one of our direct competitors, as they're one of the 5 professional teams in this league, which is really frustrating because there's 7 professional teams in the league above. Being professional in this league should have been a big advantage, and it's really not. But I wanted to get rid of Galt. The acceleration and the physicals in particular were a big issue. He actually finished joint top assist for us last season, equal with Leboa. They played a half a season each. 38 games, 8 goals from last season in his career with Queen's Park. 2 of those goals last season. That's not really solid enough. Granted, that's just in the league. In the cup, he'd had a much better run, but overall, I felt he wasn't good enough to justify the wage. Stephen Black away to Annan on a free. I'm fairly content with that one. Again, free, should have maybe got some money. Jeffrey Leduran, I'm regretting this one now that I've done it. He is away back to France, again on a free. Just couldn't get any money for some of these guys, which is frustrating. Obviously scored that free kick against Celtic when we led them 1-0. And Logan Martin away to Portvale for £5,000. And he pays for all our incomings so far in terms of money. I just didn't feel it was right. Now on the ends I did have some issues. Midfield, right wing, right back, left back, all big issue areas to bring people in. Now I could have got people. I could have got Fraser Aird, I could have got Serge Ataki, could have got Tony Gallagher, could have got a guy from Celtic on loan, but I was religious to keeping the wage budget under control. Now we did have a 30 grand wage budget and I felt that was excessive. And I'll show you, in fact, I will actually show you the Betfred Cup results in this episode so I can show you the wage structure just now. But basically, we could have got Serge Attack, and I think when I had maybe my third or fourth negotiation with him, I think about 1.5 thousand a week. Doesn't sound a lot to a 30k wage budget. In reality, to the league, it is excessive. Last year, the highest paid player I could find in the league was 1,000 a week, and that was, comfortably the highest paid player in the league. This year, Dunfermline £700 about, and I think they've got a higher budget. Airdrie might be slightly higher again, from what I've seen, but I didn't check them out. So I wanted to be religious to the wage budget. I didn't want it to spiral out of control, because the minute that you give, Fraser Aird I think was 2,600, I would have had a deal with him. The minute I give him 2,600, suddenly then, the loans, they become more expensive. Bringing in someone else becomes more expensive. Renewing the contracts becomes more expensive. So it's all big issues in that regards. So that made getting some players very, very difficult, and you'll see that as we go through. There's a couple of players I still want to sell, but first in is Dean McMaster. You'll mind that I signed him in my Rangers series. I was ecstatic to get him on a free transfer. Had to wait until his contract with St Mirren completely expired, otherwise we had to pay £300,000, which I wasn't spending. It's going to take a bit of time to develop. He's not a natural Mazelia by any stretch of the imagination, but he's solid, he's got decent determination. If we can work on him just a little bit, then I think he will do wonders for us. He is also currently getting some... Why is there some players not shown here? We need to show you Craig Conway. He's getting trained by Craig Conway. He is our new captain, can play right and left. He's not the quickest, has some pace issues, but at 35, you can expect that. But overall, he's a big upgrade, and he's only on £650 a week. Currently spent last season at Salford, obviously at Blackburn and Dundee United before that. Does have a very good pedigree, and he's great for developing younger players, with the mentoring system. So I'm hoping that having him as captain knocks him up on that a bit more. Seen as a bit more of a defensive winger now, which I'm a bit confused about. We're going to play him on the left though, and we'll go into more details on that later. I'm a bit frustrated he didn't show in this one. Ryan Mullen comes in. He's a goalkeeper previously of Celtic on a free transfer. He's on £230 a week, full-time contract. My scouts rate him, or my staff rate him as well, but I'm really not convinced by him, to be honest. I think I prefer both Hegarty and Farrell, but I'll give him the chance, give him the time to develop and see how he goes. And we can always drop him, but the league preview has him as the best goalkeeper in the league at the last time I checked. We've brought in Aidan Wilson, a left-footed centre-back, ball playing naturally, which will make a big difference for our team. He's fairly solid, not the best in the air, not the strongest. We'll work on that through time, but again, with hopefully a bit of tutoring, we can get a very good player out of Aidan Wilson. That's his issue, is mentals, and I think his professionalism is a big issue. So hopefully with Kyle Benedictus looking after him, we can kick Aidan Wilson on and get to the player that he really could be in real life, with a bit of luck. We brought in Will Graham. He's going to be our backup or rotation option this time with Regan Thompson. I didn't want to go for someone, this was the one position where we could have really gone out and had a big signing and stayed within our wage structure, but I didn't want to hamper Regan Wilson's development. So in the end, Will Graham comes in. He is formerly of Kilmarnock and Albion Rovers last season, where he's played 36 games, if I'm right in thinking. Indeed he was. So he's came to us now, and I'm excited to bring him in. He's another very good potential, high potential player. Reckon saying championship here, I think premiership will be about right. Dylan Easton, now, he's not the best. He's a rotation option for Jack Purdue, and he wasn't the best option. But anyone who's watched my channel for a couple of years will remember Dylan Easton. He was a player for me in the Forfar run on the Journeyman on FM18, I think it was, the Wanderer that we done. And he was outstanding. He was undroppable for the whole time we were there. And I never bothered to replace him. I think we actually left when we were unbeaten, and he was a big part of this. So it was a bit of nostalgia for me bringing Dylan Easton back, and he's not going to be the best player in the world, but he'll do for a season on a cheap wage. As you see, he's going to rotate with Jack Purdue in the AMC role. Ross McIver was the first right winger that I signed, and at this point I was starting to panic because we had no right wingers. In fact, how bad was it that I was panicking in June, by the way? I was really struggling to find right wingers. There was just none available. He was on a cheap wage. We grabbed him. He's not the best. He's got a bit of potential about him. He's got a bit of pace. That's really the best I can say about him. Serge Attaque and Fraser Airships have sailed. They've both signed for Falkirk in the division above and York in England, respectively, on much higher wages than I'd been willing to pay them. In all honesty, we couldn't weather that storm out. But the former Motherwell man, I think had a loan spell at Elgin City where he's played a few games, has basically came in, and hopefully he will do a job as a backup. Daryl McGett, I said, in the end of season review, I think I'm going to regret this one. He's going to be a decent backup to Aidan Wilson, I think now, but I don't think this deal was a good deal for the club. In all honesty, I think that was one of those ones where the staff recommend him so highly, you believe it, and then you get the deal done, and then later on you go, actually, was that the right deal? But hopefully he does a good job for us. He is still regarded as a League One defender, so that kind of works out. Nathan Cooney, another young defender. Unfortunately, two determination is a bit of an issue. Regarded as a right back here, but we're going to play him predominantly in the middle on the right hand side, probably rotating with Kyle Benedictus, and he is pretty solid. He's got a bit of issues in the heading department, he's got a bit of issues in the marking department, got a bit of issues in the strength department, but other than that, he's not half bad, is he? Vision is a bit of an issue again for a ball player, but I think we can make do with Nathan Cooney here. He's solid enough in my opinion. Campbell Notley, another free signing, this time from Hibs. This was a bit of a strange one. His contract expired, but he was one of those ones that stayed with the club. And I kind of went, oh, he was second choice I think that I had. But unfortunately the other guy did sign a new contract with Aberdeen, so I'm not going to say who he was. He is going to be a rotation Mazelia with Dean McMaster. He's actually probably slightly ahead of McMaster in terms of that role. He's slightly better in the pass. He's got decent vision, decent decisions. It would make a pretty good playmaker, to be honest, apart from the flair. But a similar sort of mould to Alex Lowry, if you remember, in the Rangers series. I'm excited to see how he develops, and I think that gives us three midfielders, at least, could improve a lot in the future, that are all on decent level. We've re-brought Cammy Logan back on loan. This loan was the biggest nightmare that I've ever had to sort out. He accepted about 5 times, and it kept saying, cannot have more than 4 loans per season. Went back to Hearts and still said you cannot have more than 4 loans per season. But I have no loans, and it is a new season, and I'm renewing for next year. Very frustrating thing. It's been a bug in Football Manager for a couple of years. I remember having it with Jordan Critchley, again back when we were with Forfeit and FM18. All frustrating stuff, but eventually we got our man, and he comes back, and unfortunately for him, the board expanded our scouting range. We're now able to scout England, and that's made a big difference. One, because we're allowed 4 domestic loans per season, but unlimited from south of the border. So we can loan an entire team from Liverpool if we wanted to, for example. So at that point, I stopped looking at Scottish clubs for loan players. Now, there is a few players that I would look at in Scotland, but we keep those slots open for January for emergencies, I think. Unless someone that's absolutely brilliant comes up, of course I would then snap them off. So I scouted a few Premiership clubs, I scouted a few Championship clubs. I haven't scouted any League One clubs because, there might be a few gems there, but the chances are going to be knocking on the door of their first team to get into ours. And Liverpool had this guy, Neco Williams. Now he's a right wing back, so he needs to learn this position. But he's on the same level as Cammy Logan, maybe even slightly better. £775 a week, so he's a bit more money loan-wise. But I'm excited to bring this lad in, and I think he's going to do very, very good for us. As you see, he's had 2 appearances so far, not the best rating. And Brad Lyons also comes in on loan. Now he can come into the middle, and I think naturally he is in the middle. If we have a look at him, he's naturally a Mazelia actually. Excuse me, and he's fairly solid at that, everything apart from the tackle being a big issue. But I looked at his stats, and I went, do you know what? I think Hugh could work as a winger on attack. And that's where we're going to play him. First touch is a bit of an issue, we'll work on that. But I think Brad Lyons, on loan from Blackburn, £725 a week, is worth a risk here. He's reasonably quick, not the ultimate quickness. He can cross a ball, he can hit a ball. It's all we really need. In fact, I actually think he's an upgrade on Serge Attaque, if I am honest with you. He's had an unsuccessful loan spell with Doncaster last season. Hopefully his loan spell here can be much more successful. In fact, that actually makes me want to have a look at some League One clubs that he's had a failed loan spell in League One. Maybe there is some gems there now that I've seen that. And then Enrico Katongo is now back at left back. This was again a bit of a panic buy. We needed someone for the Betfred Cup games. Frustratingly, Dumbarton kicked off their Betfred Cup just before us, and as a result he was cup tied. Great. So he will play in the next episode's game because basically Jack McCourt has been ran into the ground because he's had to play every single Betfred Cup game. So he is knackered. Well, this lad has basically no match sharp. In fact, he's at 86% match sharpness, so the staff have done well there keeping that up. I am maintaining my own training schedule, which is getting complaints from players because it's not been intense enough, which is a bit confusing for me, but we'll make it work. So Betfred Cup, how did it go? It started so well. Not really. We drew 1-1 with Clyde. We actually battered them for 90 minutes. I think they scored with basically their only shot. It was an absolute thunderbolt. In fact, they had 5 shots, 2 on target. You can see from the match stats, it's an absolute battering. We ended up winning on penalties, so we got the bonus point for that one. So in the end, it was decent. In fact, actually, if you have a look here, and let me go to custom and schedule, I literally tried to get as many home friendlies as I could in against anyone that would pay money. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was another one right at the end of last season as well. It's not showing, so it must have got postponed. Anyway, either way, I tried to get as many home friendlies as I could at the Old Hampden before we moved out on the 1st of July, and then all the friendlies there are away from home. We then played Queen of the South, division above us, if I am right in thinking. They are indeed. And we won 2-0. Brad Lyons and Kyle Benedictus on the score sheet in that game before we played St Mirren. A 93rd minute winner for St Mirren after we came from 2-0 down to get back to 2-2. Callum Gallagher scoring from the spot and Regan Thompson scoring from a free kick, I think it was, to get us back on level terms before that 93rd minute winner. I should have gone for the full wall, the full ultimate defence tactic, the one that we finished seeing out the game with Celtic, and I didn't. I used a sort of counter-attack version of it, and we paid the price for that. I think if we had used a complete back-to-the-wall tactic, it would have worked. Before we lost 3-1 to the next episode's opponents, Dunfermline. This was really frustrating because we just didn't turn up. And as you see, it's probably not our strongest team, but we weren't out of that game. You look at the match stats, we're maybe not that far off being the better team. In fact, when you look at clear-cut chances, we had 1, they had 2 half chances. We dominated the ball, but when you've got a guy like Kevin Nisbet? Yes, it is, up front, they've just got a lethal finisher, and he only got one of them, Mega on own goal, and McGill scored as well, and McGill was a pretty decent player for this level as well. They've got some top players, so that's how that works out, and this is where I'm going to show you the what I was on about, because it's the only decision I can show you right now. If we have a look, 23rd, so League One teams. Morton and Dunfermline above us, Airdrie just behind us. Who's the other professional team in the league? Clyde are behind us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got the third biggest wage budget in this league, but there's no point in looking higher. We can assume the other part-time teams in League 1 do not have a higher wage budget than Morton. We're 50k short of them per year. And this has actually gone up since then. We're up to 9,000. I think this worked out about 8,200. We're up to 9,900 committed. Now that's based on, in fact that's not even based on the bid that I've made on another player. That wouldn't go up by a huge amount. So we've probably got about there or thereabouts the highest wage budget in League One, and that's without going crazy. You know, we could have gone crazy and had the 30k a week wage budget. Where's 30k a week? Now let me just do the maths on this. So 31,628 times by 52, 1.6 million. Let's have a look. Where's 1.6 million? It's at Johnston. SPL. There is no reason for us to be punching 1.6 million a year on wages. It would be crazy. You know, and we would never ship the players back off when they're not good enough. Anyway guys, on that note, I'm going to end this episode here. Let me know if there's any improvements you would make to this team. Let me know what you think of the players that I've brought in. Hit like if you've enjoyed it. Hit subscribe. And I'll hopefully catch you all next time.